All right, everybody. Cat Shade's back again, and I got another magazine from a guy who calls himself Count Grishnak on eBay. I've got a link to his auctions in the description. It's called Explicitly Intense, and I paid way too much money for this. Supposedly, it's got interviews from Death, Napalm Death, Bolt Thrower, Usurper, Nevermore, and maybe some other crap. It's got Cannibal Corpse too, I think. Oh, whatever. Let's get straight to the death interview. I was considering reading this in Chuck's lisp, but I can't really do that great of a Chuck Schuldiner impression. All right. First paragraph starts out with some kind of flattering BS about what they've been doing. All right, and the interviewer asks, in what regards does the sound of perseverance symbolize? Willpower, non-trendiness, and truly sticking to what an individual believes in? Chuck responds, that's definitely what the album title represents. This is proof of something I believe in, not only as music or metal, not only as being a metal fan, but also playing music as well. This is my love. I've gone through a lot of hell for it. I'm still here. I'm here as a fan, and together, this is the sound of persevering, of lasting, of not giving up. I think it's very important for anyone, whatever a person's dream or goal is, because Chuck liked to say a lot, don't give up, persevere, get through it. All right? Okay, this might be a good one. How do you feel about heavy metal bands that follow popular music trends to make a quick dollar? There was a lot of that back in the mid-90s. Well, I think it's naturally pretty insincere. I have a real strong outlook on trend. The word trend is supposed to mean temporary. When someone jumps on a trend, they may capitalize on it for that moment, but it's going to be gone real soon. The whole entire trend of what people have been exposed to as being metal is not metal these days. What corporate America has wanted people to think is being metal, people need to be re-educated that this is not metal and what people are seeing in record shops. Korn is not a heavy metal band. I don't care what people say. It's not heavy metal. They're good for whatever it is that they're doing, but it's not heavy metal. I get really offended as a metal fan when I walk into a store and I see that next to an Iron Maiden record. That's a lot of bandwagon jumpers out there and jumping on the bandwagon, cutting off their hair, putting on a jogging suit, singing "Yo Mother Effer." Well, Chuck's got a point there. They tune their guitars down and that's it. They hop up and down on stage and they're a metal band. That's not what a metal band is about for me. Yeah, one thing back then, when I first heard Korn, I absolutely hated them. But say what you will about Korn, they were definitely a unique, original band, and a lot of terrible bands copied them many, many years later. So Chuck has a valid point there. What does the sound? Oh man, that sounds like some of these European interviews. This has got to be European because there's a lot of lame questions in this interview that I'm going to skip over. Other than playing and composing music for death, why would you like to form a power metal band? Control Denied is being referred to here. Back then, I was watching MTV News, and MTV News said at the time that Death had changed its name to Control Denied, and this is before you could just look something up, and I was pretty confused about this at the time. So I'm guessing like Sound of Perseverance was supposed to be a Control Denied album, but I guess the record company pressured him into making it Death or something. Well, the thing is, we're recording Control Denied in 2 weeks. By that time you read this interview, it should be about ready to be released. They're referring to the first Control Denied album, and I doubt this interview took place after Chuck had his diagnosis. Otherwise, that would probably be the first question. So he probably isn't sick at all here. All right, we're rehearsing for that as well. We got a singer, Tim Amar. And the thing is, Death to me is a metal band. Control Denied is a metal band. I'm not going down the power metal avenue because that's really the misconception. It's going to be like some Iron Maiden-esque type thing. Whatever people hear in the music of death musically, they'll be hearing in Control Denied. There'll be double bass mayhem. There's crazy riffing. There's crazy melodies. It's everything that death is, but not being the vocals. This is the biggest, the only difference, really. Okay, that's valid. And it is an extension of what I'm doing with death, except vocally. Except is misspelled here. The writer put A-C-C-A-P-T, or E-P-T rather. The vocals are more along the lines of like Rob Halford meets Bruce Dickinson, but pissed off. It has very angry, aggressive, melodic vocals. That's what people can expect. I think people are really going to be shocked by this record because it's so effing heavy. There's a time gap between Symbolic and The Sound of Perseverance. What, like 2.5 years? Come on. Well, I was actually focusing mainly, of course, on music. I started writing music for the Death record, actually, when we were recording Symbolic. I had stuff going on, and I was writing the next record, which was then The Sound of Perseverance. I actually wrote and recorded stuff with Gene Hoglan before Richard Christie took over. So I have some of that demoed off, he says. I, at the time, wanted to take a break from the whole After Symbolic tour was done. I wanted to just take a break to do something I wanted to do. I've been talking about doing Control Denied since 1994. That'd be a year prior to Symbolic. So I started working on the Control Denied record. I got the lineup together, felt really good about it. At the same time, I wanted to finish writing the Death record because a lot of people were saying, hey, look, put together another Death record out. So I was like, cool. It was going to be done now at the time. Honestly, I didn't know what would have happened if I would have waited. I'm real focused on Control Denied, but I refocused myself on Death because I'm not going to do two bands at one time. It's ridiculous. I refocused on Death, finished writing it for that. Felt real good about this record. Shit. When we were done writing, I was just like, this is going to crush. Okay. Next, how important is it for you to progress with each Death released? Well, it's pretty important, but it's very important, and oh God, this is just BS. Progression and Jesus Christ, a bunch of BS. How do you channel negative? Oh, no. This is just a bunch of dumb shit right here. Oh, here's a good one. What makes Death's cover of the infamous Judas Priest song Painkiller different? Is this supposed to be a bonus track? Actually, it was recorded for a Japanese release. We had recorded it just to be for Japan, so it was supposed to be a Japanese bonus track. Back in the 20th century, because of the prices of albums in Japan, the distributors in Japan said, hey, it would be cheaper for the Japanese fans to just buy the album directly from America. So as an incentive for Japanese people to buy it in a store in Japan, bands would have to put on an extra track or two. So this cover song was initially intended as a Japanese bonus track, but it was just so damn good, they decided to put it on the album. All right, so anyhow, when we finished it, the label heard it and they freaked. They were like, man, we've got to have the whole world have this because they thought it was really good. Well, that is true. It turned out pretty tight. And it sounds aggressive, and we kind of injected our own certain elements into it, made it a little different, played different leads, had different vocal stuff with it, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great time to just sing a different style and not just sing in the style of Death, which becomes tiresome after a while. I don't know if he's referring to the monotony of the sound or how difficult it is to sing Death stuff. I really enjoyed singing melodic for a change, Chuck added. And if you listen to the Control Denied stuff where he's singing, he does sing it in more of a kind of a Jeff Tate of Queensryche kind of way. Let's see if this Cannibal Corpse interview is lame or not. I guarantee you the Napalm Death interview is lame, because that would have been around the time of Words from the Exit Wound, right before they did whatever. All right, so let's get to the Cannibal Corpse interview here. What makes Gallery of Self-Deletion different from Vile as far as the songwriting is concerned? And Cannibal Corpse says, I think we were just coming together a lot better as musicians and songwriters as a whole unit. We just matured to a point, and we've been writing the best songs that we have ever written, Paul Mazurkowitz says. There's a big difference between the two records, and I think even in general, in the past 5 releases, we've never really delved into the writing of the songs, okay? I don't think you could have ever heard a song like From Skin to Liquid or Sentence to Burn on any of our records before, because they're such different songs in and of themselves. So that's the biggest difference I noticed. Geez. What kind of place is Gallery of Self-Deletion, and what is the song inspired by? I don't know what it's inspired by, says Paul, other than the fact that a lot of our songs, we definitely want to have a good song title. That's very important, to have a touchy, cool song title. Why did you guys decide to slow down a bit, and what does this aspect do for your music? We have been playing fast our whole career, I guess, and we thought, what the hell, why not? It's almost like a new thing for us. We're used to giving it 100% brutality and speed all the time. It's a good change of pace for ourselves. When you listen to it, it just makes it really heavier. Faster stuff sounds a little bit faster because you're listening to it back to back with maybe a slower song. Then the interview asks a really weird, dumb question here. I noticed some influences from Eaten Back to Life on Dismembered and Molested and Headless. Were they written intentionally like that? Because one thing about the first 6 Cannibal Corpse albums have in common is they're all wildly different from one another. I don't see anything from Eaten Back to Life on the song Dismembered and Molested. All right, here's the answer from Paul. They do have a little bit of that kind of feel. We were sort of looking for a little bit of the primitive style of Cannibal, like in the beginning on some of those songs. We're just writing shorter songs, having them be between 2 and 3 minutes, and a couple are under 2 minutes. And I kind of like keeping the pace like that. Not too many drum changes, and a lot of songs are pretty straightforward and to the point for the most part. I guess when you compare it, they do have some similarities, but I don't know how intentionally that is. All right, why do you feel there is a place for an instrumental like From Skin to Liquid? Well, I think that works out great. Like I was talking about with the slow songs, primarily that's the biggest standout of the record because it's the slowest song we ever did. It's different than anything we've ever done, and it's heavy. And it's heavy in a different sort of way because it's something we're using to being heavy, whatever, typical Cannibal Corpse. Okay. Do you think, oh geez, nah. Okay, yeah. There's 2 more questions. They're both lame. And what else have we got in here that's worth anything I would... Oh, God. Now, this came out in 1999. There's a whole bunch of stuff I've never even heard of. Drained. Anybody heard of a band named Drained? Demonic. That's an original band name. They're reviewing Diabolus and Musica by Slayers. All right, let's see if there's any good questions in Nevermore. How long did it take? Because I think this would have been the time that Dreaming Neon Black came out, which is my favorite Nevermore album. What type of reaction did you guys get from touring with Death? Jeff Loomis laughs. Actually, we got some great reactions from it and some funny ones. In a lot of cities we played, there were Nevermore fans and Death fans. In some cities, there were more sheerly Death fans, and they were expecting an opener to sound like Chuck. Then all of a sudden, Worrell comes on stage, and he starts screeching in his vocal way. So we got a few water bottles and beer cans thrown at us. We learned a lot on that tour. It was Chuck's decision in the first place to have us come out and tour with them. It was a really intense because the differences in audience response. I think they were really expecting a death metal band to open up for Death, and here we are, Nevermore, so yeah, we learned a lot, and maybe a few bad shows, but most of them were good ones. Yeah, I think Death and Nevermore would have been a great pairing. Too bad I must have missed that tour. Or was that the tour where they came to Columbus, and I regretted missing the show, only to find out years later Chuck threw a hissy fit and canceled the show. So I may not have had an opportunity to see that anyway. Puya. Have you ever heard of this band? I think I've heard the name. Judging from all this, I'm going to guess it's some kind of Soulfly. #1 metal radio, now on tour Ozfest this summer. Yeah, that tells you everything you need to know. All right, if you want to buy this, send me a message.